Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're taking a look at the Jade Harvester, which is going to be the Season 21 starting set for the Witch Doctor. This is going to be a lazy, easy way to play Jade, so it's a speed build and we're going to be doing GR85 in 3 minutes with just over 800 Paragon. I forgot I had a couple of augments on. Nothing crazy, about 80s, 90s, so fairly low on the requirements. Obviously if you just don't have quite as good gear you wouldn't be doing quite as high, but if you had better gear and more main stat obviously you would be going a bit higher. It is fast, it is fun, it is pretty lazy because it's got an auto cast mechanism in it, which is obviously pretty good. But before we jump in and take a look, I'd just like to welcome anyone who's new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, or at least consider it. I've got some more starter guides on the way, some more Season 21 build-up material. But other than that, guys, let's take a look at Jade. Now, the way this set works, it revolves around damage over time. So, 2-piece, we put Haunt on an enemy. If we put it on again, Haunt will deal 3,500 seconds worth of damage. Haunt is a dot, so obviously it ticks as time goes on. We can get a huge 3,500 seconds just by putting it on again. So really nice for a single target, really great for the Rift Guardian. Now on the 4-piece, Soul Harvest gains every rune and its cooldown is reduced every time by 1 second whenever we cast Haunt or Locust Swarm. So if we click away with Haunt, we get cooldown reduction on Soul Harvest, and that is obviously very important because the 6-piece is going to give us a huge detonation effect. So after we do Soul Harvest, we get 50% damage reduction for 12 seconds. Also consumes 10,000 seconds worth of remaining damage. Now, it all revolves around the Creeping Death passive because this allows Haunt and Locust Swarm, as well as Piranhas, to have their amplification last forever. So if you click Locust Swarm on something, if you click Haunt on it, then it basically stays forever. And with the 6-piece of Jade, you can then detonate 10,000 seconds worth of damage. You're crunching the damage and condensing it down to one button press as if it had lasted for 10,000 seconds, which obviously is pretty good. Now we're going to make this lazy because we're going to take the Wormwood in the cube, so Locust Swarm will kind of, as you see, emanate from the character. This will jump from enemy to enemy, so we don't actually have to activate Locust Swarm at all, which is pretty nice. Basically it means we've only got to worry about getting Haunt off. We're going to take the Quetzalcoatl in the cube as well, so Locust Swarm and Haunt now deal the damage in half the normal duration, so pretty nice damage boost. We're then going to take the Vile Hive offhand, giving us a up to 60% damage increase on Locust Swarm, as well as gives the Pestilence rune. Now the rune obviously isn't much use because we've got the Wormwood, but we do get it, so it's free, I guess is one way to look at it. We're going to take the Ring of Emptiness, a complete no-brainer, 300% extra damage whenever we get Haunt or Locust Swarm on an enemy. So obviously this is up all of the time because the Wormwood obviously gives us the Locust Swarm. We'll be casting Haunt plenty anyway, so pretty big modifier there. We're going to take the Crimson set, so 20% cooldown, 20% resource cost reduction on the 2-piece. On the 3-piece, every extra point in cooldown is more damage, and every point in resource cost reduction is more toughness. So obviously very good set. We're going to take a Bane of the Trap for a flat damage increase. We're going to take a Bane of the Powerful to get 20% more damage once we've popped our first elite, as well as get more damage against elites and save a bit of damage reduction from them. And finally, last legendary gem is going to be a Gogok of Swiftness. This is really swappable, you can absolutely take this one out. I just like the extra cooldown, so I go for this. But if you're feeling you're a little squishy, Esoteric Alteration could be a good one to take. But as I say, Gogok I just like for the cooldown. Whilst we're here, Flavour of Time will double the pylon effects, amazing for a speed build. You know, it's all my builds seem to be Flavour of Time and Crimsons because I just, you know, really like these items. But if you want to clear a map in like 2.5 minutes, very hard to do it without the Flavour of Time. Then we're going to take Nemesis Braces. These are going to give us obviously extra elites. That's perfect for a speed build. Again, allows us to clear very quickly. Got Unity to help buff up our toughness. So our follower takes one, we take one. To get the token that makes them invulnerable, it doubles the toughness. If you're grouping, you can take Ilakumba's Ornament, they'll give you a 60% damage reduction, and then basically your ring is completely free for you to choose something else. So conventional elements would be nice for some extra damage. And then lastly we've got a Rogue in the cube to make up the set bonuses. Now gems in the chest and trousers are going to be intelligence gems for more damage. I've gone cooldown in the helm just again for a bit more damage because obviously the crimsons, and also again more cooldown. It's just generally helpful. But if you're feeling squishy, a topaz will buff up your toughness quite a lot. Same for an amethyst, it'll give you some more life, so that's another swap that you could do. Now looking at the skills, Paranado, this is a kind of staple for a Witch Doctor. It is a grouping skill, you can lock enemies in place with this. It's on a 16-second cooldown, but we get it back very quickly because of the Grave Injustice passive. So we get 1 second off all of our cooldowns whenever we kill an enemy within 20 yards. So if we're up close and personal, we have incredible access to piranhas. Haunt, we're going to go for Poison Spirit. Enemies take 20% more damage from attacks once we get Haunt on, so you want to click and activate this on enemies just as extra damage. Soul Harvest, we get every single rune. Because of the Sacred Harvester, we get 10 stacks, so that's a 30% intelligence increase. Great for damage, great for toughness. We get Swallow Your Soul, so we get extra mana. Not really very helpful. We don't spend enough mana really for this to be of an issue. Siphon is amazing because we're going to get a huge amount of life every time we soul harvest something. So you'll see in the footage sometimes the life pool goes down quite a lot, but as soon as we start killing stuff, you know, it's a huge life per kill, which is great. Languish will give us 100% armor, again because of the 10 stacks. Gets off as slow on the enemy as well, so less incoming damage. Soul to Waste, brilliant. We get 5% move speed per stack, so 10 stacks, 50%, so nice and zippy on the move speed. And Vengeful Spirits doesn't really seem to do anything. Now Horrify Stalker is great, this will give us some extra move speed, so we basically put this on Numlock, or I do anyway because I'm lazy. This will basically auto cast the skill and we get 20% move speed for 4 seconds after using it. Again, if let's say you're finding yourself a little bit squishy, you can pick the Frightening Aspect rune to get an extra 50% armor. So again, another swap if you feel that you are a little squish. Or the Locust Swarm, we obviously get the Pestilence rune, which would jump to extra enemies, but we don't necessarily need that because of the Wormwood, but obviously it does allow it to spread even more. But Cloud of Insects will give us a 25% reduced damage reduction, so that's obviously pretty handy, again buffing up toughness. Then Spirit Walk, gone for Severance, 100% move speed, just amazing skill because it means that we can absolutely zip around. It's great, you're absolutely immortal, you can't be touched, complete damage immunity, you can move through everything. On a 10-second cooldown, it is pretty nice. So Grave Injustice, as we say, very important passive. Creeping Death we've been through, important. Other than that, Confidence Ritual, 25% additional damage against enemies within 20 yards, and Spirit Vessel, just in case something goes wrong and you've got that cheat death to fall back on. Now, the way Grave Injustice works, because this does so much cooldown lifting, we pretty much have ultimate uptime on Piranhas, Soul Harvest, Spirit Walk. They're just there whenever we need, and Horrify is obviously going off on Numlock. So because the cooldowns are short, because the way this passive works, because we've got the Crimsons and we've got cooldown anyway for more damage, it just means we've got great uptime. So what you do is you Numlock, Horrify, hop into the Rift. You're then going to basically Spirit Walk to grab some enemies, you know, Paranado to group them up, click Haunt on them a couple of times, activate Soul Harvest. Obviously you want to get up to 10 stacks, and this is kind of how you blow them up. So once they're blown up, they funnel into your cooldown because obviously you're going to be up close and in their grid. You then just repeat, so you just like hop from group to group up with Piranhas, get a Haunt on, explode them up with Soul Harvest, and off you go. And obviously you're looking for elites, but you can stop and kill really big groups of trash, and it is pretty satisfying because they all do good pop. So all you need to remember, Soul Harvest is your button for popping enemies. Click away with Haunt, that does some damage, gets Haunts on, but other than that, Spirit Walk to move around, Paranado to group up, and Horrify is just giving you a little bit more move speed or armor if you change the room. So for farming keys, there's probably quite a few options for Jade, but what I've decided to do is we've got rid of the Unity for an Avarice Band, Boon of the Hoarder, Gold Wrap combo, so we've also dropped the Crimsons, but this will basically give us infinite toughness, huge pickup radius on the Avarice Band. We can then, because we've got rid of the Rourke, take the Larceny Ring. This gives us move speed depending on fearing. Obviously we've got the Horrify, which is going to do a fear for us on Numlock, so we do get quite good value out of this. Still got the Wormwood for the auto casting, still got the Sacred Harvester for all the lovely Soul Harvest benefits. And other than that, it is pretty much the same. Now, You do have to make kills to get the Boon of the Hoarder up, so occasionally at the start of a rift you might struggle. You just need to get something killed, it'll drop gold, and then you'll be off and away. I've dropped the Gogok as the legendary gem, so we've kept in the powerful and also the trapped, but it's very flexible. You could swap stuff about, maybe take the chicken set here, but I tend to like to keep the skills the same when I'm doing speed rifting, key farming, just so that it all runs pretty smooth. So as I say, I've tried to keep them as similar as possible, and this does do T16 pretty quickly. But that's the guide. Now I probably would move off Jade onto Mundunugu for season 21 because it is looking still like the strongest build despite the nerfs. But Jade will do a pretty solid job at quite a lot of things. It does push fairly well as well, so all in all it's a very good set and probably one of the better ones out of the starters that we've had access to. But that'll do it guys, I hope you're staying safe. I'll be back with some more season 21 build up material just as soon as I can. Take it easy guys, peace.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.